Hi, this is Skip Orth with Father and Son Pest and Lawn Solutions, and today we're going to talk about fertilizer, the different types of fertilizer, and how and where to use each type of fertilizer. So here I've got 4 bags of fertilizer. They're all different, and we're going to talk about where and how you can use each different type. So let's start with this one. As you can see in bold numbers here, it says 13, 13, 13. The numbers on the fertilizer indicate the percentage of macronutrients that are in this bag. So this bag, the 3 numbers, the first number represents the amount of nitrogen. So there's 13% nitrogen in this bag. The second number is phosphorus. So there's 13% phosphorus in this bag, and the third number is potassium. So in this 50-pound bag of fertilizer, 13% of it is nitrogen, 13% is phosphorus, and 13% is potassium. The rest of the ingredients in here are just mainly filler. So there are equal amounts of macronutrients in this bag of fertilizer. Now here along the Emerald Coast, our soil is low on most all nutrients. It's always advised that you take a soil sample from your yard to verify what nutrients the soil needs in order to grow the grass that you're trying to grow. However, we have taken literally hundreds of soil samples in and along the Emerald Coast area and have found that all of the nutrients in our soil along here, along the Emerald Coast here, are low. We're low on nitrogen. Nitrogen is a water-soluble nutrient, so it's not really going to show up in a soil test, but phosphorus and potassium do. And the vast majority of all the soil testing we've done along the Emerald Coast here indicates it's low or very low on phosphorus and potassium. So if you're going to fertilize your lawn, if your soil is low on phosphorus and potassium, you want to use a fertilizer like this that has equal amounts of nitrogen, phosphorus, and potassium in the bag. Now, one interesting thing about this bag of fertilizer, you'll notice it says plant food. I've had a lot of people comment to me that they have gone to look for lawn fertilizer, and they can't find any quote lawn fertilizer that has these numbers on it. The reason is that most areas in the country, except for here along the Emerald Coast, most areas have plenty of phosphorus in them. So most, or actually all, lawn fertilizers have very little or no phosphorus, the middle number. So if you see a fertilizer with a higher middle number, it's going to be plant food. It doesn't matter what it's called, it's still going to be the same nutrients in the bag regardless whether it says plant food or lawn fertilizer. Okay, so this would be a good fertilizer to use, just a general purpose fertilizer, if you're low on all your nutrients in the grass. Okay, so the next fertilizer we're going to talk about here is this one, and the numbers on this one, if you can see here, are 24 to 11. So there's a lot more nitrogen in this bag, a lot less phosphorus, and somewhat less potassium. Now, nitrogen is the key ingredient to stimulate growth and the green color in the grass. So using this fertilizer will stimulate a lot of growth. It'll grow quicker, and it'll turn a deep green. Now you might say, well, that's a good thing, that's what I want. Well, that is true. However, you can actually get too much of a good thing. Using too much nitrogen and not enough of the other two ingredients will create a top-heavy lawn, and what that'll do is there will be more foliage on top of the soil than the root system can support, and using a nitrogen-heavy fertilizer over a period of a year or 2 or 3 years will create a lawn that's very weak. It may look lush and green on top, but it's very susceptible to collapsing just from disease activity, from insect activity, and collapsing on its own because the root system is so stunted and there's so much top growth on top of the soil. So I don't recommend using this on a regular basis here along the Emerald Coast. It's good to use maybe in the spring when you're trying to get the grass to fill in. If you have areas in the lawn is not dense, you can maybe still see the soil in between the grass runners, and you want to get the grass to become more dense. This is a good choice, but not to use it exclusively. Okay, here we have a bag of organic fertilizer. And as you can see, the analysis on this is a 6-4-0. So it's 6% nitrogen, 4% phosphorus, and 0% potassium. And it says here it's activated sludge. What this actually is this you may be familiar with a fertilizer called milorganite. This is very similar to milorganite. Organic fertilizers are made out of waste products like animal waste or even human waste that comes out of sewer plants. So these are very good to use on lawns that maybe are under stress for one reason or another, and you're trying to get them to recover, but you don't want to give them a really hard shock of something like a 24-211. Let's say that the lawn has come under stress from insect or disease activity, and you're trying to nurse the lawn along and trying to feed it a little bit, but you don't want to give it too much. This is an excellent product to do that with. Another application for this type of fertilizer would be a lawn that's growing in a very shady area. If grass is growing in a very shady area and you give it too much fertilizer, what it'll do, it'll actually stress the grass out because the grass isn't able to collect enough sunlight in order to process all the fertilizer, and it actually stresses it out. So if you put something, again, like a 24-211 with high nitrogen on grass that's growing in a very shady area, it could stress it out and cause it to decline. However, this has very low numbers, 6% nitrogen, 4% phosphorus. Also has a lot of really good micronutrients in it and a lot of good organics in it that help the grass overall. So this also, if you want to apply fertilizer, say once a month, frequently, like once a month, this is a good product to do that because it's not going to burn your lawn, it's not going to overstimulate the lawn, and it's a really good product to use. Okay, we're going to move over here to this last bag that we have here, and as you can see, this is an 8-2-11. It's 8% nitrogen, 2% phosphorus, and 12% potassium. Plus it has a whole list of micronutrients here. And as you can see, this is labeled Landscape and Ornamental Fertilizer. This is specifically formulated, especially in the micronutrients, specifically formulated for ornamental plants and, say, palm trees. Palm trees specifically need a lot of magnesium in them, and this has magnesium. They need magnesium, and this has magnesium in it. So this is good for shrubs, hardwood like roses, palm trees, any kind of ornamental plants. This is good for. So you can notice in the fertilizers that we have here, none of them have a name brand that you might be familiar with that you might see at Lowe's. A lot of people ask me, well, what brand of fertilizer should I get? Actually, the brand of fertilizer doesn't make any difference. the ingredients are still going to be the same. It's still, look at the numbers like we have looked at today, and look at the numbers that you're putting on the lawn and go by that instead of the brand. The brand, the bigger brand name fertilizers will try to market their fertilizers to get you to use really more than you should. So going back to what we said at the very beginning, the best thing to do is take a soil test. A soil test will tell you how much fertilizer and what nutrients the lawn needs, and get your fertilizer based on the results of that soil test and apply them accordingly. Okay, well, that's a little bit of discussion about fertilizers, and good luck keeping your lawn healthy.